Retrolife or anything, but the model numbers and everything do match up the R612 and so forth, so I know we got the right thing here. But there's that. So let's go ahead and cut into this thing and get this thing out. Got my trusty X-Acto here, so we're going to try cutting into this and see how easy this is. Seeming pretty easy right off the bat there. First thing right on top, instructions. If you recall, in the last one that I reviewed, the instructions were kind of hidden, and I didn't think it came with any and found them a little bit later, but instructions, always a beautiful thing, worth having. So we can see kind of what we got to do here. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot. Kind of jumps right to the thing. I'm going to take a look at those in just a minute. But let's go ahead and get this guy out of the box, if we will. It's not very heavy at all. Knock that over there and see if I can pull this off. We've got something here. Probably the adapter. Yep, got the adapter there. And we're going to pull off our styrofoam. Good amount of protection on this, which is really nice here. One of the things that's grabbing my attention right away, and I have barely gotten into this thing, is how small this is. You know, I commented about there not being much weight to this, and certainly there isn't, but the size of this thing, and I'll take it out of the plastic here in just a second. So I thought that was kind of cool too. When I was reading up on this on their website, I was looking at the dimensions of it and noticing its smaller size. And so I came from a 350 square foot New York City apartment. I just recently moved out here to New Jersey, where I now can build my music room. That's all fresh and new in the background. So I've got more space, but I didn't always have a lot of space. So a small record player like this could be right up your alley if you're someone like me who had a very tight space. But beautiful and elegant right off the bat. I like this black line that's running through the middle of this thing here, and the color of the wood is great. You can already see matches my chest that's here, so it's going to go nicely with that. We should peel that right off. Oh, it makes it even more beautiful there. I see that there are cutouts on here which lead me to believe that you can close this when the record is on it and it will be fine. I'm going to look at that in a minute. I do notice, again, right off the bat, there is no counterweight to this. And I did read that this has an auto stop, and I know there's debates on whether that's good or bad. I'm on the fence on it. I definitely understand the idea of not letting the needle itself grind into your vinyl. You certainly never want to do that. You use the counterweight to counter that, and by not having the auto lift up and down on it, it makes you get up and take care of that, and it's more interactive and so forth. But sometimes you want to put the record on and you fall asleep and then you wake up to the scratching, so that auto shut off can be really nice. But there you go, there's all of that. And I'll put that down right here, and then we've got speakers that come with this. And as I mentioned, they are wired speakers, so definitely like that. Now they're on a bit of the small side, which can both be good, you know, and have its pluses and minuses. This won't take up much space. I can see it's got a nice body to it, and if you head over to the website and you click on this model and look at it, they do a very nice exploded view of this about how they get that great sound out of this. And let's just go ahead and open up the other one here. So doesn't appear to be much in the way of you know, putting this together. The belt is already hooked onto this. There's no counterweight and so forth. The design of this is meant so that you can actually put the two speakers together if you want and sit this guy right on top, and you get that sort of effect, which is a cool effect. Although again, for you audiophiles out there, I know you like the speakers separated on it. It certainly gives you a better spatial delivery of the sound and so forth. You can't do that because it's got the wires and so forth on it and everything. I'm gonna go test this thing out, and then I'm gonna come back and give you a little final wrap up and review on it. All right, so I'm back, having had a chance to test this thing out. I went for some classics, stuff that I know that when I listen to, I can give a good idea of what it should and should not sound like. So I went with Bon Jovi, You Give Love a Bad Name. Also did Steve Perry's Street Talk album, and of course the classic Oh Sherry. I'm gonna play you a little snippet of that in here in a minute. And Carmine Appice, this album here simply called Rockers. So first off on this thing, I have to say, just talking about the design of this thing, I do think it's beautiful here. I like this idea that it's very compact and it can be put together and so forth. You can see that the record actually sticks out of the thing on here. And so my initial reaction with that is that the lid, when closed, doesn't really capture or contain, I should say, the playing of the record. And sometimes you want that if it's got more hiss and pop and stuff to it because it's an older record that wasn't taken care of. The lid is good for containing that. And unfortunately, this model doesn't do this. But there's some trade-offs with it. Again, it's that tight design and so forth and things. The arm itself not having the counterweight, there's something built into it that does its own thing, and it feels as though it maybe is pressing a little more than I would like it to. And it's a little bit finicky in terms of going up and down and so forth, but again, it has that auto shut off and everything on it. The elegant sort of vintage design of this is, you know, tops for me. I always go for aesthetics, being an architect and so forth. But when it comes to the sound on this, I felt that the highs were a little too high on it, not enough low end for me. It wasn't really as balanced as I would like it to be. This is also a generational thing. I know that some younger listeners like those sort of things. That's where we get into that whole difference between the sound that is from streaming versus analog and so forth. But this one here just didn't quite have that balance of highs and lows on it and so forth. So I do think that at the $229 price that this is, for the quality, for the elegance of it, what it does and so forth as a sort of starting out model, I do think that that is a nice thing here. If you're an audiophile type person, I think you may want to look into some of their other more high-end versions. In particular, maybe the Seeing SY101 model that I previously reviewed. And again, the link for that is in the description. This one here, I'm going to put this on now and give you just a little sample of what I'm talking about. We can't do too much of this because of copyrights, but and we're going to go into the middle of it. And we're going to jump to one more song here. We'll even do one more here. He's always really good for checking out vocal styles and so forth. Some people use Adele and so forth. Steve Perry for me is a classic go-to person in terms of hearing the warmth in a voice and so forth. And I know I didn't play much of that on here. And I always say in terms of the testing of these things out, demoing them and so forth, it's only as good as your speakers are. You're certainly never going to get to know what these speakers really sound like because it's still playing through the speakers on your end and you're hearing it that way. But that gave you just a little bit of sample there on this thing. And as I said, while bright and clear, it definitely is that, you know, very smooth sound in it. It's just a little too much in the high range for me, not enough balance down into the low range on it. That's my only sort of complaint on this. But again, as I said, in the $229 range that this is and the other features that you get for it, it is a good starter model. But if you are an audiophile type person, you may want to look into some of their more higher end ones. So there you go. That is my review of this particular record player here, the R612 from Retrolife. As I said, the box on this thing called it Season Life, so that may be the specific name of this one here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching.